In this video, I'm going to take you through procrastination, how to beat it, and how to finally turn your bad planning into actual actions. So I'm going to take you through some of the execution strategies that you can use, such as the time blocking method, the 2-minute rule, and I'm also going to take you through how I personally execute my planning. So I love this colorful time blocking method where I utilize my entire Google Calendar, whether it's Apple Calendar, Google Calendar, Microsoft Calendar, but I turn every single thing into blocks so every minute of my day is accounted for. The thing is, you may be a really bad procrastinator and you may be really bad at time management, but that's not usually the case. Like, every single person is going through the exact same thing. It's just about knowing how to manage your time and how to plan your week in advance. Stick with me. By the end, you'll have the tools you need to start planning your days in advance and making sure you never waste time again. We all have them days where we start the day with good intention, those days where we think today's the day I'm finally going to reach out to some clients, I'm going to sort out my social media, I'm going to reply to all of my emails, but something always goes wrong during those days. It may be, let me just take a quick little scroll through social media. Let me just snooze the alarm for 1 minute longer. Let me just quickly check my emails. You jump between low priority tasks and distractions. Before you know it, the whole day's gone and your big plans, they've still gone untouched. But you ask yourself, why again did nothing important get touched today? If this story hits home, don't worry, you're not alone. As a coach and entrepreneur, just an individual trying to get through the week, you thrive on big ideas and big plans, and then you find yourself still stuck in the same routine, same rut of never accomplishing exactly what you set out to do. Okay, let's start with procrastination and discuss exactly what it is. Studies actually show that 20 to 25% of adults worldwide are chronic procrastinators. Not just procrastinate, they are chronic procrastinators. This is coaches, entrepreneurs, creatives, sports people, just actual adults like you and me. Even high achievers fall into the procrastination trap. Why? It's not because you're lazy or you lack discipline. It's far from that. It usually falls into these 5 things. Sometimes it is just you're overwhelmed or uncertain. You may have a long to-do list and you just do not know where to begin with it. Big projects with thousands of small steps may feel paralyzing. So instead of starting somewhere, you actually find it much easier to just decide not to start anywhere at all. And then over to the second reason, a lot of people have fear of failure or fear of success. Many procrastinators are actually perfectionists in disguise. They want to keep tweaking little headlines, tweaking color schemes, tweaking the smallest of things with the hopes that eventually when it comes out, it's going to be its most perfect version. If you're afraid that your work won't live up to its high standards, sometimes it's actually just easier to delay than to start at all. Another reason would be lack of immediate consequence. So a lot of people don't have a boss or anyone holding them accountable to any deadlines. And because of this, it's so much easier to put off these big goals and just say, I'll get it done later. So a lot of people will say, I'll just get it done tomorrow. But the problem is, you keep saying I'll get it done tomorrow every single day until it gets to that point where it just keeps slipping. Next thing you know, it's been weeks or months before you got around to doing that small task. And then the most dangerous one, in my opinion, is short-term comfort over long-term goals. A lot of people would rather procrastinate right now because it gives a sense of relief. And especially when you are there brain rotting, scrolling through TikTok, that is much more fun than doing the long tasks that are awaiting you. But if you leave it until later, it bites back at you. And then you have all of these deadlines that are looming in, and it ends up being a lot worse when you have to procrastinate. The crazy thing is, procrastination often makes us feel worse than it actually makes us feel better. In the moment, it may feel like, okay, I'll get it done later. But when it comes to the time when you actually need to finish that thing, it's never great. It's usually a vicious cycle, and the good news is you can break out of it. you can actually train yourself to break out of procrastination rather than your brain resisting any longer. Here are my favorite strategies. The first one is the 2-minute rule. Just start even if it bothers you. It's as simple as this. If a task will take 2 minutes to do, just do the task. I think a lot of people get stuck in this notion of like going through their calendar, telling themselves this is my to-do list for today, where it ends up taking you almost 10 minutes planning what you need to do rather than just doing the task. It may be as simple as you need to send an invoice to a client, and a lot of people spend more time writing they need to send an invoice to a client and then what they need to do after that rather than just sending the invoice to the client. The 2-minute rule is, in my opinion, the best thing to just get you out of it. I remember watching a video, I believe it was Mel Robbins, saying this also works with like getting out of bed in the morning, where if it's so much easier to just hear your alarm, get up, but when you take time thinking about it and thinking about, okay, I now have to snooze, that's where time is then lost. This applies to all elements of your life. When you're clearing up those little micro tasks, it essentially clears up the bulk of your to-do list. And over time, you'll find that those little micro tasks amount to at least 20 different things completed off your list in one day. For much larger tasks, of course, the 2-minute rule actually helps you overcome that thought. You know, that like where you're getting started, it helps you overcome that, because if you commit to, I'm going to do 2 minutes of this really big task, next thing you know, you're already in the loop and you're already involved in this like super big task. The moment you catch yourself hesitating today, here's a little challenge for you. Just get started. If you're thinking, oh, I need to write a blog post, just start with one line. And before you know it, you've already started. Because the thing is, with procrastinators, the antidote to this is just getting started. If you think about it and hold back, you end up in a loop of it's been 5 hours and you still haven't started that thing that you were thinking about 5 hours ago. Just remember, done is better than perfect, and starting gets you done. The second strategy is time blocking. This is my personal favorite, but it's essentially putting the task into your calendar, which I'm going to show you after this. And with this, it's essentially, if you dedicate 20 minutes to a specific task, even if you spend 20 minutes on that task and you find yourself still not done and you need an additional 40 minutes to do it, you have to stop after that 20 minutes, because your next task then starts essentially after that 20-minute period. So if you find yourself in a position where you have 5 different tasks to do that day, at least you start all 5 tasks. Whether you finish them or not, you then save that for the end of the day. So let's say I need to go gym, I also need to write an article, but I also need to edit some videos. I can add 1 hour for each of those tasks and make sure I do each of those tasks an hour at least. And then for those things that I haven't finished, I just go back to them at the end of the day or go back to them the following day. That way you're always going up and no tasks get left undone. There is something known as the Pomodoro technique. This is essentially working 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, 25 minutes and 5-minute break. Think of it as you are in like a timed exam. You have 25 minutes to finish that task, and then at the end of it, you get that 5-minute break to just have a quick brain pause, and then another 25 minute. Doing it in short sprints like this gets you through so much in one day. You can also combine time blocking with the 2-minute rule. So if you leave a 1 hour block in your calendar and then add the first 5 minutes, at least you know if after 5 minutes you either have the momentum to carry on for another 55 minutes or you have momentum to do another task. So it's either one or the other. And if you combine these 2 together, you'll find that over time you don't even think to procrastinate, because it's essentially a race against time for yourself. The third strategy is the accountability hack. So this one works quite well for a lot of people. There are 4 ways you can essentially do this. Either you get yourself into an accountability group or have yourself an accountability partner. You can also publicly declare, like, I'm gonna do this thing. That way, because you've made it public, it's a lot harder to fail, because all them people that are rooting for you and waiting for the results of that thing are then gonna see you fail. you can also put money on the line. So there is a really good app called Plant. I love this app. So if you don't want to go on your phone for an hour, you essentially put your bank details into the app, and if you touch your phone before that hour is done, the money comes out of your account. But if you don't, then you keep the money, and you can do this for any length of time. There's so many other like time blocking apps similar to that, or you can have your accountability partner put money on the line. So if you do the task, then they owe you that much, etc, that kind of thing. Because when there is money on the line, a lot more people feel like they have to do that thing. Another thing you can do is join a challenge of some sort, or join like a program that will keep you dedicated. So this is the same for if you want to do like a marathon, you want to do something sports related. It is like a way of doing that thing. So like in May, my mum has committed to walking 100 kilometers in the month of May, and this is something that she's done publicly. She's also collected money because it goes to charity, and she is doing it as part of a program, as well as me as her accountability partner, making sure she does it every single day. All of these, she hasn't done 100 kilometers in a month ever, but she has been committed so far, going day in, day out to make sure she accomplishes this. The bottom line is you can't rely on willpower alone. You have gotten this far and are obviously watching this video because you've struggled with willpower. So you need something to keep you accountable. Leverage that social pressure to keep you on track, and you can't go wrong. Okay, so this next section is leveraging time blocking, how to actually design your week. So for this section, I'm going to share my screen. So this next segment, I'm going to be doing it on my laptop, but I'm just going to show you an example of how my Outlook calendar looks. I'm going to build this one on Apple Calendar because it's currently completely empty right now, and essentially it's exactly the same thing, and yeah, it works exactly the same. So whether you use Outlook, Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, if you download the app on your phone, if you've got a tablet, then download that app on there. It all syncs together. I know a lot of people prefer to use Apple just because if you've got an iPad, iPhone, MacBook, it all syncs, but Outlook does the same thing. And all of them, what I love the most is that you can have all of your different calendars on there. So even if it's like the Google Calendar app, you can add in your Outlook emails, and that's the same with the Apple Calendar, and that's the same with Outlook. So I've got like 6 different email addresses, 6 different businesses, like my personal calendars, all of that kind of stuff. It's all under one place. I can see my entire week. I don't have meeting clashes. It's all there. So I'm gonna keep looking down because I'm gonna use this my iPad calendar, Outlook calendar as reference whilst I'm building out my Apple calendar. Okay, so on the left hand here, there is one called calendar and one called home. I'm actually gonna make them a little bit more exciting. So I'm gonna break them up into focus work, make that blue. So this will be for like my deep work, client projects, strategy, anything that basically makes a huge impact on my work. And then I'm gonna have meetings and communication in red. I've already added my my business email here so that it'll be easier and I don't make any duplications. And then health and routine, so anything that involves like gym, meal prepping, my morning rituals, sleep, or just any wellness blocks, those are going to go in here. And then my admin and life tasks, those would be grey, and that's my email, errands, finances, planning, anything operational for any of my businesses. And then my personal time, the best time. This was just like my reading, journaling, spiritual work, hobbies, social time, or full rest. That is going to go in purple. I haven't decided whether I want it purple or yellow, just because I'm gonna see how it looks with like the rest of the grid. My like Outlook one is super girly, like pastel pinks, darker pinks, pastel blues, pastel greens, that kind of stuff. So I haven't decided, but let's get started. So I'm just gonna copy this over, and what you can do is just rename it and then You can right click on it and then decide what color you want it to be. And of course, if like the standard colors aren't enough for you, you've got plenty to go from here. So, and then if I want to add another calendar, you go over to file and then just click on new calendar. And I'm going to name all of these and then color code them after. This is something that you can do in here, but with my Outlook one, most important thing for me on there is the different time zones. So for me right now, I'm currently in Malaysia, and a lot of like my clients and other meetings I have are with people in the UK. So I know I'm like +7 hours, but in my Outlook calendar, give you a quick glance over it, you can see here that I've got my like BST and my GMT +8, which is actually +7 now. But so yeah, that for me is important to always have, that it's like, you know, 7 hours. So I may struggle a little bit with this, but I know I can flick. Oh, I think we may kind of like, can have both. Right, okay, gonna use Malaysian time because of course I'm waking up at that time. I've decided to be realistic. As much as I want to be one of them girlies that wakes up at 5, gets my whole day done before 7 a.m, it's just not me. And like I mentioned, a lot of my clients are based in the UK, and a lot of my work and everything is based on UK time. So just keep that in mind, that 12 a.m. here is 5 p.m. in the UK. So I may sometimes work all the way up until then, especially if I need like some things doing. So to be very realistic, I'm not going to bed at 8. I'm not going to bed at like 10, and I'm not waking up at 5. Let's just keep that real. So I'm gonna start my day, worst case scenario, 9. If I start at 9 a.m, that gives me leverage and leeway for what time I go to sleep. Of course, during the week, I can adapt these and make it much earlier, but for now, this is the time we're just gonna go with. So I'm gonna start with my personal time here, and we're gonna add an event. The reason rather than just doing this as a quick event is because I want this to repeat. So on here, I'm gonna add a journal and just plan my day. And this is something I'm gonna have for Malaysian time, 09 every day. This should be about 15 minutes. 09:15, and I'm gonna repeat this every day. And for now, I'm gonna end this in 1 month time when I leave Malaysia, just so I can check that. Okay, cool. So that's that. Plan my day every day, same time. And then next thing we're gonna do is my metaphysics and manifestation and meditation. So something here, metaphysics, manifest, meditate, etc. I'm gonna change that. Okay, so I took a break there just to actually fill out this calendar and essentially have finished it. So as you can see, all of the tasks daily that I'm gonna pretty much do every single day. So I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna do my power hour, I'm gonna go gym. I know when my gym off days are, I know I shower and sauna, I know when I break my fast, I know when I start my fast, I know when I cook dinner, I know for the time being, I know when my meetings are during this week and when they are not. So for me, I know when all of these daily tasks are, what I've left is enough room for me to plan day by day. So in this, I've left a space so that it's not plain, like written in stone that I have to do those things. And tomorrow is mostly my day for, I've got meetings I already know about, and I've already got editing my YouTube videos. So I normally do this task on a Sunday, go through the week. If I know I'm going on like holiday next week or I'm traveling next week, I'm not just going to have this repeating for 6 months straight, because if you don't take time to look at your calendar and take time to look at what's there and you just expect a notification, your day by day is not going to be the same forever. So I do 100% recommend that you redo this every single week. So for me, I know the next 5 weeks, I'm traveling next week, Wednesday for a week, and then the week, 2 weeks after, moving back home. And then in between, I don't know whether I'm going on a trip or whether I'm not going to go on a trip. And I don't want, just because I'm going on a trip, to completely ruin my rhythm of things and to knock me off balance of routine. Instead, I'm going to adapt my time to the time that I have. And this is time zone friendly as well. So if you're like a digital nomad, consistently moving around, this works for. Continually changing it works for that. Another thing I absolutely love about the Apple Calendar, again, like I've said, it integrates to your iPhone, to your iPad, to your Apple Watch, as well as your MacBook. I'm such an Apple consumerist, like this is actually really bad. But another thing I love about it is that you can do this and set it as a reminder instead of an event. So if on Wednesday I know I need to send an email, promo content, and I want a reminder maybe 2 hours before, like 2 hours before this, I'll be just coming out the sauna or shower, and this for me. So on my reminders app, I've got categories in there, and when I just need a quick reminder, when I'm thinking of something, I don't do the 2-minute rule straight away, but I write it down in terms of as soon as I think of something, and it's always split into these things here. So this for me is part of my marketing, and I am just going to leave it there, and it's in my calendar as well. So that integration for me, it works wonders. And essentially, just to round up everything, I think the most important thing to remember as well is, like I've mentioned, the hard stop. So time blocking is important for the hard stops. If you set yourself 1 hour or 2 hour task, that thing has got to be done within that 1 hour or 2 hours. That's going to stop you mindlessly scrolling through your phone midway through task. That's going to stop you from just getting distracted overall, because you know you have got to finish that task within a certain time limit. If it's not done, then add another time block for the following day until that task is done. But it should not interfere with any of your other tasks. That way you're gradually making progress every single day at all times. How I personally set my time should not be how you set your time. This is what I found has worked for me. I've been doing this for about 3 years, and it has worked for me continually. It's allowed me to accomplish so many different tasks. But what you need to do as an individual is review, learn, and tweak. If something isn't working for you, don't keep doing it. If you find yourself still procrastinating, still stuck in the same rut, you need to find something that works for you. And if it's not this, do the reminders. So if it's just like reminders app with an alarm, if it's anything that works for you. Some people love writing it all down on paper and then ticking it off, like it doesn't necessarily matter. But time blocking is important in alignment with those things in order to actually make sure you stop the procrastination. So whatever works for you, make sure you narrow it down and then zero in on it and do it. I'm going to challenge you this next week to practice one of the 3 things I mentioned, either the 2-minute rule, the time blocking, or to find yourself an accountability partner, even if you have to add in the comments the public declaration of I'm going to do this and everyone sees exactly what you've said you're going to do, I'm more than happy to hold you accountable. Email me, message me, DM me, do anything, and I'm more than happy to hold you accountable to any of these things until you achieve them. So this week I challenge you to try one of them 3 methods, and then at the end of the week review whether it's worked for you, what hasn't worked, what you feel like it needs tweaking, or why it hasn't worked. If you're continually reviewing yourself, you'll always improve. And just remember, taking charge of your future is very possible. Ending procrastination is very possible. It's just something that you have to take one step at a time and take the first step forward in order to do. So I wish you the best of luck, and let me know if you need any help. And once again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it.